students, once again, good morning to you all. Today we are going to study the basic discussion on the story, The Grief by Anton Chekhov. This is a story written by Anton Chekhov. Let me talk a brief about who Anton Chekhov is. Anton Chekhov is a Russian writer, novelist, as well as dramatist. He is a very famous short story writer as well as dramatist. His stories are more suspicious in nature, and it talks about the contemporary Russian culture trends which reflects the scenario around the world. So, if I talk about the setting of the story, it is talking about the Russia in the middle 19th century. The weather condition is described in the story at the beginning, where it is snowing fall, and the weather helps to establish the mood as gloomy and dismal. The protagonist, here the word protagonist means the main character. Iona Petrovich rides through a heavy storm on his horse cart, right, as you can see on the picture. Taking his riders to the destination, right, he's taking his riders, I mean to say, he's taking the guests or passengers to the another fair or to the another place which is known as Vivog Way. The meaning of Vivog here refers to something that is a traditional castle built nearby. Actually, as you can see on the picture, Iona, his face is sad. His face is sad because there is a reason behind him. Because he has a grief in his mind regarding his son's death. Based on his grief, the title of the story is set up as Grief. So he wants some solidarity. A solitary situation is there. He wants he expects some solidarity from his passengers that they would give a sympathy to him. So the narrator, Iona is trying to take his passengers to the place, what I already said, to the place Vivor. On the way, he often looks back and forth to his passenger so that he could tell the story. As you can see on the picture, it's a snowy fall and his horse and himself is covered with snow too. The most important event here we need to understand is the whole story is written on a flashback because he is relating his past experience at the present moment. The most important event is turning point of Iona's reaction towards his traveler. The story triggers a flashback in which he reflects his life as well. The plot at the beginning, after the beginning, the plot reveals primarily around the travel and desire to share his grief, right? To share his grief to the traveler. As you can see the picture, he seems to be very much worried and his face is covered with snow. So Iona Petros is the main character of the story who is narrating the story in general. He is also taken as a warrior. As you can see, he is worried and he has a full of unhappiness, sorrow, or grief in his mind, and he is expecting someone to listen about his grief, that is his son's death. He thinks he is successful, but he is more worried about his career too. Other characters are travelers and horse, which also he takes horse as one of his best friend by the end of the story. Iona Petrovich, when we explore the story, as we discuss, as you can read the story through the lines, we find different things. So the story is set up in the winter season in Russia. In the 1980s, people tell him that his son may have died from the fever. He knows. This is possibly means that he could have passed from a disease called tuberculosis too. Many people respond cruelly to the cab driver, right? To the cab driver means here, Iona. and he thinks that the reaction that of the travelers towards Iona is not good, as there may be lots of death associated with these. People think, oh, everyone can die. One day we have to die. That's why people think up. So people are trying to look the story in the form of that it's a normal thing. उनीहरूले के त्यो ट्राभलरहरूले कसरी हेरिरहेका छन् भन्ने नानीहरू मर्छ नि हामी सबै एक दिन मर्नै पर्छ we need to die or we have to die one day, so they take it from the common practice which the main character Iona does not feel comfortable. So he still does not justify the people's cruel behavior. He thinks people don't understand my real value or breadth. When we read the story or when we listen the story, we come to know that the whole story lies with the grief of the main character Iona. The beginning is a writing action. How the story begins, I am going to say step by step. The man gives an officer a ride. Then he tells him that his son has died. He continues doing or telling him repeatedly throughout the story because he wants someone to consolate him, to give him a sympathy, and but nobody is. However, the officer rudely ignores him and he reaches the destination and he leaves. This is how the story is beginning with the things first. There is a climax of the story and action. Climax means after a few hours, the cab driver, Iona, gives three young men a ride. Again, he tells them that he has just lost his son. A hunchback boy riding in the back then proceeds to ridicule the man and even, even tries to push, that is not slapping or push him on the neck. That he's trying to say that he won't like to listen any further. Falling action is there. Even though the mean teenagers, after the black man got off the cart, the teenager get on, and the cab driver feel lonely because no one is with him. He tries to talk to the horse porter, who really tells him to return to the yard. He gets home and realizes he does not have enough things or enough food to feed even his horse. Now what to do? When we come to the conclusion of the story, the man Iona is still sad. Nobody wants to listen his grief, his sorrow, his painful mind. So he also realizes now he needs somebody to talk about the situation. Nobody is hearing. कसैले पनि उसको कुरालाई seriously लिएकै छैन. Everyone thinks that everyone had to die one day. This is how the story think of for the ones. Then, after talking to another cabman fails, he decides to talk to the horse and he tells the whole story to his horse. The horse, munches away. He goes to tell about his son and he thinks his horse is the best friend among all. In this way, the story ends. So we have characters. The caveman's driver name is Leona. He just lost his son and his wife is not around and his daughter Aisha is out in the country. This is not mentioned in the story, but this is the background. He is lonely means alone, and he is looking someone to give a company, to give him like a friend and listen, talk to and console him about the recent loss of his son due to the illness. People who he drives may think, think is there, think it's odd to be told that his son has died and Leona just wants someone to talk, so he asks everyone might listen to him. There are some imageries or images in the text. Iona and the horse are repeatedly covered with snow in the story. This usually happens when they are waiting to give someone a ride. The snow, what is the symbolic meaning? The स्नोले के जनाउँछ त भन्ने कुरालाई हामीले यहाँ बुझ्नु जरुरी छ. The snow is a symbol of his grief, meaning that it elopes him when the people aren't around. Even if people are rude to him after he tells them about his loss, he still feels sad when they leave because they don't listen to him carefully. He needs the company of the people. He needs the group of friends. Company means here group of friends, because he is alone. He remembers his son, which is too painful for him. There is symbolism in this story also. The horse is a symbol of hope for the main character Iona. हामीले यसरी बुझ्नुपर्छ। आशा, उसको आशा भनेकै को, त्यही उसले उसको घोडा मात्रै हो, because nobody listens to him. Even the others rudely, badly ignored him, बेवास्ता गरे, and the horse was there at the last to listen. Horses are the symbol of strength, something Iona needed for the loss of his son. So horse is a best company. Many travelers ride on his cart, but nobody listens carefully. So he takes horse as a symbol of strength in his life. There is figurative language. Iona says, the only wife for me is now the damp earth. Means he feels he's angry. By this, he means that he cannot live without his son, and now he has no son to live with him. He is so sarcastic in saying that teens are merry gentlemen, because he himself is not happy by the loss of his son. So they are mere gentlemen, and actually, although they need to listen about the ancestors. This is how he talks about. So the theme of the story is not to give up when the hope seems lost, because consolation can be found even in unlikely places. Like in the story, the man tells the story of his grief to the horse, when all the man did not listen to him. So it helps us to solve your problem to others. If nobody listens, go, you can tell it your grief to a mirror, to a wall, to a living object, or to a non-living object, to a tree, or else. This is how we talk about. Even if they cannot offer advice, just talking about them makes you feel better. तपाईले आफ्नो मनको दुःख, मनको पीडा, चाहे कोठाको कुनै भित्तालाई होस्, चाहे घोडालाई होस्, चाहे बिरालोलाई होस्, चाहे कुकुरलाई, मान्छेले सुनेन भने पनि तपाईले त्यो पीडा भन्नुभयो भने, केही भएन भने पनि उनीहरूले रियाक्सन गर्न सक्दैन, तर त्यसले तपाईलाई आनन्दमय बनाउँछ. This is the thing. Now is the time to think and answer. So we have on the question and answer session, these are the key vocabularies used in this text, which you can see on the screen. Right, and these are the key questions which you can discuss. So now let's come to the discussion with the main ideas of the text. So here we go.